Hi, I'm Avery Amundsen, and I am a walking sparkle emoji.
And I'm Tony, and I'm not. Actually, it's Tony Lieb, and I am a creative director here at Red Dot Labs.
And we're just chilling, talking about our favorite things that are red. Tony, you have something for us today?
I don't think this is a favorite thing that is read, but I was just thinking about. So my best friend's name is Stubby, and I think he did a book report in my senior year of high school,
Okay.
and it was on. This is early in internet, right? So this was the start of misinformation,
Yeah,
and it was this conspiracy theory that the Smurfs were actually representational of the Ku Klux Klan,
I'm obsessed.
and that's why Papa Smurf, right, has a red hat
Okay.
because that was like the dragon bad guy.
This is crazy.
And then Gargamel, what color did he always wear? It
Here's
was
the thing.
black.
Oh
It was
my
a whole thing that and the cats were representational. So my point is, I don't hate the Smurfs, nor do I actually think that they're representational of the Ku Klux Klan.
Fabulous.
But I wanted to talk about early internet madness and maybe
Ooh.
some of the cultural impacts of completely.
100%. Like spaghetti pasta.
I don't know.
Or creepy pasta. Spaghetti pasta is an actual food. Okay, so here's the wild thing.
Okay.
I learned about creepy pasta in a college course.
So that's the thing. It went into our institutions because there was no.
Right. Well, and I was
filter.
studying it was digital comms. And so some part of the class, like we
But what
studied
is
the
what is creepypasta?
So creepypasta, and here, I'm going to look up the definition right now. Creepypastas are short, user-generated horror stories that are copied and pasted around the internet to scare, frighten, and discomfort readers. The term creepypasta comes from copypasta, which is a combination of the words copy and paste. Creepypastas are different from copypastas because they are all horror fiction and they may also include multimedia like videos, images. So Slender Man was like, it's like you're telling ghost stories, but on the internet, and it just gets copied and pasted, and like
Right.
every time it goes somewhere, it shifts a little bit, so it just becomes this like massive canon of lore of what Slender Man.
Real quick question. So Slender Man is an example of creepypasta.
Correct.
Got it.
Slender Man is an example of a creepypasta.
So Avery, can you give me a little background on Slender Man? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, let me look it up here. It says, like, because the Slender Man's fictional mythology has evolved without an official canon for reference, this is like an online internet creepypasta thing.
Yeah.
His appearance, motives, habits, and abilities are not fixed but change depending on the storyteller. He's most commonly described as a very tall and thin with unnaturally long tentacle-like arms, which he can extend to intimidate or capture prey. In most stories, his face is white and featureless, but occasionally his face appears differently to anyone who sees it. He appears wearing a dark suit and tie. The Slender Man is often associated with the forest and or abandoned locations and has the ability to teleport. I did not know about that. Proximity to the Slender Man is often said to trigger a slender sickness, a rapid onset of paranoia, nightmares, and delusions accompanied by nosebleeds. So that's kind of his MO. He's just a creepy dude that's around. Early stories featured him targeting children or young adults. Some featured young adults driven insane or to act on his behalf. And so this Slender Man is kind of a puppet master, it seems like. So Slender Man, creepypasta, all evolutions of the original internet conspiracy theories. So I know nothing about the Smurfs conspiracy theory. You have to tell me more.
Well, so I graduated in 1999, so this would have been like 98, 99. And I believe that my friend did a report, like in school,
Yeah.
about the Smurfs possibly being some sort of symbology
Okay.
of the Ku Klux Klan.
So researched by a grade
Because
schooler.
at that point, the
Love it.
internet's the internet.
Yes.
In the same way that the library used to be the library. And so he sort of could present this as like, I don't know for sure, but like this could be maybe a fact.
But these are the sources that I found
Okay,
that
right.
are online, and I cited them, and so therefore it's true.
And
I
so,
love it.
so then you kind of fast forward, and it's like all of a sudden that kid with a Smurfs backpack, you're like, is he a racist?
Oh my God.
Like you start to think about that, or like my parents watch Smurfs with me, maybe they're secret,
Like secret
yeah,
indoctrination.
right, all that stuff. And so, like, I think the connection there is when you don't have reliable sources of information, or there's no filter between creepypasta and actual coverage, like that's kind of the result that we're living in now, right? Is like you have a whole generation that grew up with creepypasta being just as sort of reliable as a number of news sources, and then there's a few actual people doing the real news, but
100%.
it's way less entertaining,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's just as you're raising kids, it's like it's very because I'm like the last free generation, right? We were talking about this a little bit
Right?
yesterday.
Yes. Yes.
The last like pre-internet generation, and now we have kids that don't that like creepypasta and like this is the point. So my daughter is 9, and she has a fear of the little holes together fear.
Typophobia, is that what it is?
Okay, whatever that thing is, right?
Okay,
I had
yes.
never heard of that before in my whole life, but then recently, last couple of years, it's like all these people that are afraid of like little holes next to each other, and like that has to be an internet thing.
Trypophobia. Sorry, I needed to figure it out. But
think about like all of a sudden there's these weird fears that are coming up that you're like, well, where did that come from? I don't know. I'm just afraid of a lot of little holes next to each other.
is it a fear that's coming up now, or is it a fear that you can now identify because you have the resources?
It's a good question. Or if you're learning that is a thing you should possibly fear at 5 or 6.
Sure.
Do you even
just latch onto that?
It's like I'm afraid of mice because my mom was afraid of mice, and she'd be like, "Well, you jump on chairs when mice come because they're scary."
Well, mice are freaky, man. Okay, I feel like I need to know more about the Smurfs because I know of them as a pop culture reference.
But did you grow up with the Smurfs? Because you're younger than I am. Do you remember like the original like animated series?
Yes, I remember it, but I didn't really watch it.
Because that was just like a thing when you were a kid,
Right, it was just on. Was it like Saturday morning cartoons?
Yeah.
See, I literally have no idea.
Yeah, it was Saturday morning, and you do the thing where after these messages, we'll be right back. Maybe it was a different time.
Okay.
But yeah, cartoons were only for certain times of the day, right? It was either
Right.
Saturday mornings or after school, were the only times that were. And like the best ones were at weird times, like GI Joes were on like very early, and I was lazy and I was not going to get up. My buddy would always get up and like brag about I watched GI Joes this morning, and I'd be like, well, I slept.
Early bird gets a worm.
And there's only like, if it's a 30-minute episode, you're getting like
Right.
12 minutes of content. It's mostly a GI Joe toy commercial with with
The
all
good
of a
old days. That's content marketing, baby.
I bet they don't even do GI Joes anymore.
No.
It's too polarized.
Yeah.
They wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
No.
They'd be like anti.
Not in Barbie's world.
Yeah, well, that's not fair. Why does Barbie get a pass and GI Joes are they still a thing? Does that exist?
I don't know. I haven't seen a GI Joe on the shelf, but I'm also not in the kids section these days. It's a Cold War propaganda.
Well, I mean that, and wrestling. Like everything was anti. Are you kidding me? Miracle, like
I know.
hockey, wrestling,
Lay it on
everything.
The Red Scare. That's another red thing.
His name was Sergeant Slaughter. That was like our favorite childhood toy was Sergeant Slaughter.
I mean, that sounds pretty
Look at this dude.
badass. Shut up.
That's like, think about, and now they're like Bluey. Like, think about that cultural difference.
Well, I can tell you right now, you show me a picture of that GI Joe. I've seen 8 guys like that at Blazing Saddle.
That's. I was gonna say every gym in America, that dude's there. He's
100%.
just not. So I think there's something we can learn from the Bluey generation and the Sergeant Slaughter generation. I think there's got to be a happy medium somewhere, right?
You think?
It can't all be little cute puppies.
But Bluey is so sweet.
My 15-year-old's like kind of into it. I'm like, well,
It's really sweet. It's very emotionally intelligent, I will say, which is the big difference from GI murder slasher.
It was Sergeant Slaughter. That's his name.
So same diff. I was more into like the Pretty Princess, My Little Pony type vibe.
Like, I don't know. They were just a little village of people. They protected the girl. Smurf was like protected. There's only one girl Smurf.
Oh, so it's like the Peach effect, like Princess Peach in Mario, and like everyone's trying to protect her, and she's just like the girly.
Yeah, but there's also Papa Smurf.
Okay.
Like you had old Smurf guy, you had the single female Smurf, and then all the other regular Smurfs, and they're all trying to defeat Gargamel.
Okay.
Who's the bad guy?
Okay. Is he of the same breed?
He's a human.
Species? Oh, okay.
He's a human. Gargamel's like a grumpy old.
He's gonna get you.
And the cat, he has a cat that he loves, but he's also mean too.
I just know of them as like low blue guys bopping around.
Yeah, they seem happy. I don't know. They were in a good mood.
They're happy secret communists.
No, the opposite of they're not communists.
Oh, duh. I was going
They're
back to the Red Scare.
There's a Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah. So they were taking this like happy, idyllic
but
image.
I do see how you could turn it into communism too.
I mean, I feel like
that would go
everything
tighter
at that
with
time,
the GI Joe angle.
It would.
On anti-80s, like
but,
Russia.
I mean, because I feel like everything had hints of propaganda, scare. I'm gonna look up Smurfs, communist. Sorry, IT people. Are the Smurfs communist? Time magazine, 2018. The conspiracy theory that the Smurfs are more than innocuous, friendly creatures gained much of its popularity due to a 2008 YouTube video. The video sums up ideas that had been floating around the internet for some time about how the Smurfs represent communist values. It points out similarities between an ideal communist society with that of the Smurfs. They are self-sufficient in running their own community. They function without money in a collectivist society. Each Smurf works for the good of everyone, and their leader, who bears a passing resemblance to Karl Marx, loves the color red.
Yep. Things that are red.
Things that are red, baby. Oh, here's Gargamel. Goes on to note that the villain of the Smurfs, the greedy, ruthless Gargamel, represents capitalism. His only concern is with his own personal gratification. He's what happens when the individual makes himself more important than the society he lives in. What's your take on that?
It's interesting. It's a little interesting. I think it's worth pondering.
Okay. Oh, I have one more thing I want to add from this article. So the video claims that the communist undertones of the Smurfs was part of a ploy to influence children during the Cold War, and proposes that Smurf is actually an acronym for small men under red forces. This, of course, doesn't really make sense considering that the original name for the Smurfs in French was Smurf.
So in the end, what we have learned is don't believe everything you read on the internet.
My
because the Smurfs are just some cute blue guys in funny hats.
I think the red thing we learned about today was actually a red flag.
It is.
Thank you so much for listening to Things That Are Red. This has been a Red Dot Labs production. For more episodes and information, check out red.ad.com and be sure to follow Red Dot Branding and Marketing on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Catch you next time.